It's another Saturday, it's 11 o'clock. This is John here from Badminton Talk Podcast and...
Mark Topping.
Mark Topping, how are you today?
I am very good, John. I'm fighting weeds at the moment. It's weed growing season, so I've got to try and get these weeds out of my garden.
Oh, golly. It must look like a masterpiece at this stage, Mark, does it?
I am quite pleased at the moment, yeah, but it's an ongoing fight, John. The weeds love growing.
The weeds love growing, and guess what? Ray Stevens still growing on our podcast, number 4, the final week of Ray Stevens, Mark.
Yes, John, it's amazing. Well, I don't think we realised when we started chatting to Ray, it was just like one of those chats that just keeps on going. And so we've got 4 parts with Ray Stevens. So this is, I promise you, listeners, this is our last one with Ray Stevens.
Yeah, I think Netflix better watch out. We might have a season coming in the future with Ray Stevens. So, yes, we welcome everyone to the Badminton Talk Podcast. Today is the 15th of April. Of course, Mark and myself, we recorded the Ray Stevens interview. Mark, I think it was 2 months ago, was it? Something like that?
I think it was about 6 weeks ago, John.
Maybe 6 weeks ago. Yeah, time flies very quick. But fascinating insight to... a legend of the game who was ruthless in his training, but the amount of information and advice that he's given us over the last 3 weeks or 3 episodes has been just incredible, Mark.
Oh, he is such a deep thinker of the game. In many ways, in my view, he was way ahead of his time. He's almost set the bar back in the 70s and 80s. Obviously, sports science, things have improved, but he really was ahead of his time in his generation.
Oh, absolutely. And Mark, wasn't it wonderful, the chat we had with Ray and Sam McGee and Jack on our Badminton Talk Unscripted 40 Minutes, which is on our YouTube channel, of course. That was fascinating stuff from Ray as well.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just one of those great characters. He just lives and breathes badminton, and it's just, he could just talk badminton all day. I just love listening to the man.
Yeah, and still got an incredible recall and memory for the players and is watching the circuit closely. But Mark, shall we get going and let our listeners listen to the final part of Ray Stevens? Shall we go for it?
That is a very good idea, John. Let's do it.
Okay, so put up your feet and enjoy the next hour of the interview with Mark and myself on the Badminton Talk podcast. Of course, without the Q shuttle, we couldn't bring you this, so we might give you that again. Okay, over to Ray.
I don't know what club badminton is like in Southern Ireland, but... badminton in Britain, club badminton at least, has died a death. And wow. It's such a shame because there is models that can be made for developing clubs, and you've got to use the people who know how to develop these models, and there should be I've worked with Glasgow Chinese Badminton Club, and we've got a beginner section, an intermediate section, we've got an advanced section, and we've got a senior section, and about 70 members, and that's a model in itself. And we've had people in the national squad, but it's just not happening. The club scene has just died, and I put it down to people haven't got 4 or 5 hours to go and be at a club now. They want to play their sport and get it over with in a hour to 2 hours. So much more like the squash model, or get a lesson with Mark, and that's your exercise.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's. I'm noticing it here in Ireland as well. I think we may be not faring as badly as the rest of Britain, but I do notice the trends are downwards here in Ireland. There are fewer and fewer clubs.
In Scotland, it's dire, and I think you'll get pockets, and you've got to ask yourself, why do those pockets work? And you'll get a thriving session where it's very inclusive and it's graded, and you've normally got someone who really cares about it and is putting it together well, you know. But that's got to be replicated.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. One of my big things is I'm a big supporter of grassroots badminton. I think it's not the grassroots versus high performance. They complement each other. They feed off each other. They need each other, in my opinion. It's not a them or this situation. It's a sort of a community which is built together. But one of the things I said, why couldn't we set a target in Irish badminton to, say, open 50 new juvenile badminton clubs in the next 2 or 3 years?
Fantastic. Yeah. And that's what I say about using your expertise. The CEO isn't going to know that. And he's certainly not going to go down and put into place 50 new centres. But if he puts you in charge of putting 5 centres together and gets another 10 people like you, he's got a chance. And, and backs them. So that is my point, is using people and using people that have got the passion and delegating the right people.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Grassroots is so important. So White's grassroots, they're the supporters of the Nat, and they're supporters of the McGee's, and they're the supporters of your children coming through. You want a fan base that is strong and build those youngsters up so there's someone in the community that people can say, I want to be like that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's good advice, Ray. Really good advice. Well, let's maybe move on to that last question I've got here on my list, Ray. It's been just brilliant to listen to you and chat to you today, and thank you very much again for all your time. But final question, what are your own personal goals for 2021 in the badminton world, Ray? What are you hoping to achieve?
That's a good question, Mark. Look, I've been involved with badminton now for 55 plus years.
That's a long time.
Are we seeing that photo there?
Sorry, Phil, I'm sorry, I've been very bold here on the podcast because I was just sharing something with Ray here on Zoom, and I've shared a picture which goes back, and Phil wanted to ask me to ask you, tell me about this photograph. Where was it?
Phil's from Wales.
And that would be in a forest trail in close to Guildford, and we would have been running through. Our trainer would have been on his bike, and believe me, we were probably doing 50 tuck jumps there in the mud.
Wow.
And I wouldn't have been surprised if he put us into 50 tuck jumps in a 2-foot puddle. Or 50 press-ups in there, because the training wasn't just physical, it was mental, and crazy, and it used to be psychological mind games. He used to have a set of playing cards from 1 to 500, So if you got a 1, you might have to run 1 mile. If you got 500, you might have to do 500 skips. But you were petrified. He's going to say 500 press-ups or 500 tuck jumps because he would have made us do them.
Yes.
And we did.
You did.
I'm just going to finish off with we used to train every single day in a 5-court hall. And Kevin, we had a marvellous young lad with us called Gary Asquith, probably the best player who never played for England, and myself. And one of the challenges was to walk on our hands and a handstand on the 5 courts, there and back. That was one of the challenges. So, and we could do it.
I was going to ask you, could you do it? Yes.
We could do it. And to finish off the session, we used to say 200 tuck jumps. And we'd do 200 tuck jumps, knees to chest, to finish off the session. And then we used to go upstairs and do a physical session, which was a dojo session. And I swear I won a nationals in that dojo because I've done the physical session a few days away from the nationals, and Kevin's there with me, who's I'm going to probably meet in the final. I've done the 40-minute session, which included runs, sprints, jump up, touch the ceiling. It was all stuff like burpees, press-ups, every type of exercise you could imagine. Done the 40 minutes. We're lying like blobs of sweat on this dojo mat. And I said, I feel pretty good. I think I'm going to do that again.
And did you?
Yeah. And I done Kevin from that moment.
Oh, my
he knew
God.
He couldn't do it.
That's phenomenal. That is phenomenal. If anybody, by the way, was looking at the pictures we're looking at 2 guys that look as fit as fiddles, muscles dripping off their legs, and they're training, and you can see the effort they're making and the concentration. I hope, Phil, who's listening, you have the answer to the question that you asked about the picture. Ray, thank you for sharing.
I'd be right. I would be right. And Phil was great to train with because I was always tagging onto his shirt tails. Yes, I was a good athlete, but so was he.
Yeah. Well, I mean, brilliant to share that story. Sorry, Mark. Back to you.
Anyway, just going back to the question, what would be your own personal goals for 2021, Ray?
Okay, in the 55 years, I have travelled all over the world with this wonderful, wonderful sport. And I've made friends all over the world. And my goal now is to keep in touch with those people. And even I speak to Billy Gilliland every single week. He lives in Calgary. I was booked to go out to see him, but COVID spoiled that. I've got friends in Melbourne and Sydney, Australia, and I'd like to visit them. Keep in touch with the people that I can really consider my close friends in badminton. I've not got a lot left. I've produced lots of players and really enjoyed it. I've coached European champions and world champions. And I'm going to say now, that's now over to the next generation of coaches.
But Ray, you have someone like Ray Webster at 67, ranked 785 in the world. His ambition is to, I think, maybe one day win one round or a set or something like that. he is training like a 20-year-old.
Amazing.
I mean, come on! You're in the same age bracket. I mean, and he has no ambition of going away. And I take my hat off to someone with that attitude as well.
Oh, it's fantastic. But I'm going to say this, Mark. I've contacted Ray and talked to Ray, and you try and say to him, look at Mark. Mark's brilliant and been a world champion at his age group, and probably plays in the over 45s and then the 50s and stuff like that. Ray Webster's going out and playing the Swedish Open and German Open and stuff like that. He's not going to get through around there, Mark. John, let's be sensible.
Yeah.
So I say to Ray, and I love Ray.
Yes.
You're spending $1,000 on going out to the Canadian Open. Spend $1,000 going out to the World Championships in India. I don't want to play with those old boys yet. And yes, and this is his philosophy, and you know it because you're.
I do. I know him.
You know him well.
Yeah.
No, I'm not trying to. If we could bottle his enthusiasm, we'd all be millionaires, Rodney.
Yeah, he told me he's entering the Swiss Open, which you know is on next month. And I said to him, "Oh, how are you doing?" He said, "Well, I'm on the short list." And I said, "Okay." I said, "How many's on the short list?" He said, "There's 101 players." I said, "Oh, right. So where are you?" He said, I'm not too bad. I'm 83."
Yeah, you know, he's never going to play that, but. I've got to be honest with you, whether it's with Mark or someone in his area, and he's so keen, I'm not knocking his keenness.
No.
He's got so many things in his game that he could improve. Look at his rear call play. He's taken it down by his waist.
Hope you're listening, Ray. Here's lots of tips from Ray.
And, and I said to him, I know... he's a brilliant guy.
Yeah,
but I said, you've got trees in your garden. Find a leaf that is where you've really got to stretch your arm up or get a foot off the ground with a jump and start learning to take, because your arm's too slow up in your rear call. He's not too bad on the front line, not too bad defensively, not too bad on the touch. He's always going to struggle on speed, power, mobility with the sort of age groups that he's playing in. But his rear call play, I'm going to give him a D for that.
Okay. Well, my point anyway, apart from giving wonderful advice, not just to Ray, but to a lot of players who could take the shuttle earlier and do exactly as what you said, is Ray. I think you've a lot more left in the sport now. You're to me, as someone take 10 years off your age, you know, we're in a different world. Think a lot of things can be done, and just purely listening to what you're saying and what you can give, I think there are many players that would love your advice and mindset. I just think it's as I've got to know more about you in the last week or two since doing the research, and obviously I knew about you before, but never at this level. You know, I don't hear this, but I don't hear this type of discussion, this kind of information coming from players. It's rare. It's absolutely rare, and you need to know that it's rare. Mark, and I know Mark agrees 110%, because you know, we could summarize all the key points you've made today, and that could be a really good strategy for any federation.
Yeah. So I'm going to finish off and to a part where you can cut it out quite easily, if you want. I was coaching Darren Hall. He was playing the world champion in the second round of the All England. They were having a mammoth match that was total running style. A rally match that was brutal. They've gone to 3. There's 5 minutes between the second and third. And he goes off to the Wembley changing rooms, and I go off with him. And we walk in, and there's Steve Badley there and the England manager. And not a bit of tactical advice, not one bit of tactical advice, keep into the bag or smash at his body or anything like that. I said, Darren, the one who wins this is the one who's got the balls for it. Darren won 15-2 in the third.
Oh my God! You wouldn't believe that. Only that I know it's you telling the story. That's incredible,
and it can be checked. It was an All England round.
Oh, absolutely. Wow.
Yeah, and I listened to Anthony Clark at the Rio Olympics, and there was a Polish pair playing against the Adcotts. And they'd lost the first game. And Anthony Clark, and I've got a lot of time for Anthony. I think he's a good coach. He's gone in there and he said, well, you two keep playing like this, you're going to be out of the Olympics in the next 10 minutes. He said, you've got to soften up your game. And he got that bit of information through to them. And they won.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm going to give you the best match I ever coached in. Yes.
Okay. We're listening.
Mark Topping and Bruce Topping.
I've heard of them, yeah.
Yeah, Mark Topping and Bruce Topping, and they're playing in the Welsh Open. They're about second round or something like that. And they play against a very good pair that were top seeds from Holland.
Right.
Tall guy. You couldn't serve to him. It was whipped it off the top of the net. The game was played a million miles an hour. Zoom, 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 everywhere. And going there. They lost the first 15-love.
Sorry, repeat that again. 15-love, yeah? Mark Topping.
15
okay.
love.
I used to, okay, this is good
I'm
now.
going on for 90 seconds.
Okay.
I said, lads, you're playing it all wrong. Cut out the fast play. Stop the shuttle. Get the lift. Go into the centre more. Look for the tee. Look for the grey areas. Find the gaps. Second set, they nick it. 15-13.
Nice. Okay. Well, as they say, one swallow doesn't make a summer. So what happens in the third one?
Third set, and this is my best coaching bit ever. Third set, much the same. I said, keep to the plan. Keep to the plan. They nicked it 15-13. So they've lost the first 15-love. They've now got opponents that have won the next 26 points against them. 26 is at 41, and they've got 30, and they walk off the winners.
That's amazing. Oh, my God.
But that isn't the final bit of the story.
Okay.
They then go on to win against a pair that was a Scottish number one pair who were really rated, Kenny Middlemas and Russell Hogg, rest in peace, Russell. They win against them in 2 sets. And the growth you saw from the belief in themselves was immense. immense, and that's what it's about. So
wow,
I'm always
fantastic.
On about people. If your daughter or son gets a win or a good shot, congratulate yourself. Give yourself a pat on the back. You've done it well. If you're stuck in a really tough rally and even lost it, give yourself a pat on the back. You'll win the next one. Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah, brilliant advice. Oh my God, what year was that game? That Mark? Obviously, that was back in. Was it late 90s?
No. It's about 2000, or because you only took over from Michael O'Mara at the end. It'd be about 2000.
Yeah, it's somewhere around there. I just thought it might be 1997, but
that's too early.
Is it? Yeah.
I'm telling you now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. No,
it's a shame they didn't have.
I can verify that Ray's story there. It was just incredible.
No lies in here, and I'm just going to say, Irish badminton. I loved Irish badminton. I love coaching there. I wish they'd had a full-time position because I loved the Irish. I really did. And I put on the Facebook the results we got against Ireland, for Ireland, and it was USA, France, Spain, England, Wales, Scotland. Can you believe that?
Wow.
That's right. I remember that we had a very good run under you when you were coach. It just I think what it was you brought a lot of self-belief to the players around that period, and we had an incredible run of results. We beat countries that we never usually beat, and it was an amazing time. It was a lovely time.
A great trip to Norway we had with the Thomas Cup and the Uber Cup. I love that. I love my time with Ireland. I can't tell you enough. In fact, I've had 4 national coaches jobs, and it was probably my favourite. It wasn't the most scientific would have been my Scottish job. The best talent that I had was England. But Wales, Ireland was my favourite, I'm telling you.
Well, you're going to make a lot of people listening to this podcast very happy. I think all over the world as well, not just in Ireland, because you're as I said, your track record is there, Ray. It is what it says on the tin, and who knows? Maybe someone in Badminton Ireland or someone's listening, planning the future, might send an email to you, Ray, and go a shout out.
I'm 69 now, John. I'm not looking for anything. Everything I've said is a truth.
I know.
And it's been so nice to talk to you guys and share our passion for the sport. And I hope the people that have listened have enjoyed it.
Well, Ray, thank you so much. I can't thank you more. And brilliant to have shared what has gone by in a flash. That's all I'll say. I don't know how long this has been. I know we've done many footage, many Zoom packages here in this afternoon, which is today is the 18th of February 2021 with the legend Ray Stevens, who has a big birthday coming up in June. So we'll wish you happy birthday ahead of that. But Ray, thank you so much, and I hope to see you in the flesh, as they'd say, at some stage at one of these competitive competitions. I'm
sure we will, John. That would be nice.
Yeah.
I think you should come over and stay at my house, Ray, at some stage when COVID is over.
That's a good idea. You know you're one of my favourite people, and I love your brother as well, and all the people in. I'm going to say this: I wasn't their favourite coach. Believe me, that we got the results.
Sure did.
And that's what counts. And that's what counts as well. But leaving a wonderful reputation intact as well. That's what also counts. So
I had a wonderful man that they put me to work with, actually, Arthur Carroll from Cork. Some people will know him, and he was such a lovely man. And we often played good cop, bad cop, and I was always a bad cop.
And is he still around?
Mark's putting out the feelers from me, and he's going to give me a phone number, and I'm going to call him because he was a very special man.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, yeah. Well, hopefully, if he's listening or someone knows him who knows him, because it's a small world, Ray, it's possible that if someone's listening and says, yeah, I know him and I've listened to this podcast, they can just dart Mark an email at mark@mymobilebadmintonshop.ie. That's the direct email address. Yeah.
I wish you luck with your business as well. I know you're both working hard at it.
Thanks very much, Ray. Well, look, I think let's get the badminton back playing post COVID. I think it's probably September 21 this year when I think things look like the season will start back in a kind of structured form. So we look forward to that. And who knows, maybe an Irish Open or something might be an opportunity to come over here. Maybe something like that. Who knows?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Good to talk to you two lads.
Okay, Ray.
Thanks again.
Thanks so much. That's Ray Stevens, the legend on Badminton Talk podcast. Thank you and good night. Wow, Mark, that just blew my mind. My goodness, Ray. Ireland was his favourite place. Is that amazing? You obviously have amazing memories of that, Mark. What a compliment. I've written it down. 15 love, you lost that set. 13-15, 13-15, and everything changed after that. Was that a memory and a half, Mark?
Oh, John, absolutely. Yeah, Ray, he's just a special man, obviously, in my life. I just connected with him. I just seemed to connect with everything he said, and he had such self-belief. I think in many ways, before Ray came along, I didn't believe that I would win matches. Oh, no, they're from England. Oh, they're better than me. Oh, they're from Scotland. But after spending some time with Ray, no, they've just got a head, two arms, two legs. They're exactly the same as you. You can beat them. And that was, he's absolutely right. Just the self-belief grew when Ray was your coach. And we achieved some amazing results. We actually, we beat an England team that I think it was 1999. It was the 100th celebration match to mark Badminton Ireland's 100th anniversary.
Wow.
And Ireland played England in Whitehall Road in Terenure Badminton Centre in 1999. And we beat the England team 3-2. Now, we had some really good players. Michael Watt was playing singles that night. Sonia McGinn, I think, played the women. There was it was a special time, a really a period where we were incredibly successful, Irish badminton team.
And tell us, Mark, tell us, Mark, now, just while we're kind of wrapping up this, do you think Ray would have the energy to come over at some stage in the future and, help the setup in some way? I'm only saying it from the point of view, the amount of experience that he has, I mean, he still has his fingers on the pulse with players. He knows who's around. Although I did get a feeling that he's resigned himself. It's the next generation. I've kind of done what I can do. But any thoughts on that, Mark? Any thoughts?
Yeah, I think personally, I mean, I think he has so much still to offer, but that really is up to Ray to decide that. I just don't know his personal situation or how he views it. Yeah, I got that impression on the Badminton Talk podcast there that he sort of is handing it over to the next generation of coaches. But personally, I think he would be an asset to any national governing body, any badminton organisation around the world. I think he would be just amazing. Even today, so some people might say, "Oh, he's out of date and maybe doesn't know," but at the end of the day, badminton coaching is almost a human thing. It's just a human interaction, isn't it? It's this being able to motivate, being able to make people believe. And Ray is unique. He just has that as you probably could hear on the Badminton Talk podcast. It was an inspiring 4 sessions. I really enjoyed listening to him.
Well, Mark, I kind of get the feeling that, Ray Stevens' presence watching the players would create inspiration and encouragement, and an absolute no-nonsense approach guy. It's purely work as hard as you can, give your opponents nothing, and make them work every single point, and believe in yourself. Yeah? Quite a good summary?
Absolutely. And also, he was incredibly tactically advanced. So I would always listen to him in those little breaks. And he was often right. He wasn't always right, but he was correct an awful lot of times. So as a player, you started to believe in the coach because you would put in his tactics into play and they would work and you would win. And so obviously you just had this positive reinforcement. You just kept going. You really believed in your coach.
Yeah,
and he believed in you. It was a two-way thing. So really, really good.
Yeah, the type of player that you would want in the back of the court if your match is not going your way and you just want that 1 word or 2 words just to hear, and it just resets you, puts you back. And the proof of the pudding has been in the eating. He has achieved so much in his, did he say 55 years in badminton, Mark?
It was, yeah, that's what he said. 55 years. It's incredible.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is incredible. Well, we've come to the end, Mark, of our road as we hear the tune of our exit coming to an end. Mark, wow, brilliant 4 weeks or 4 episodes with Ray, yeah?
Enjoyed it immensely, John. What are you going to do yourself for the rest of the day?
I'm going on a 5k run. I've got myself into these 5k runs now. It's April 15th, Mark, and I'm feeling 5k run is, I'm setting my target to now aim for 27 minutes on my 5k run. That's my target, my new target. And you?
Brilliant. We'll just go back weeds.
You're back to the weeds again. At least, Mark, you're not back to the weed. I'd be worried if you said that. Okay, Mark. Well, we let the signature tune play out, and we'll talk to each other again next Saturday at 11 o'clock. See you, Mark.
Hey, John. Thanks.